Kyle, good to see you. How are you? Thanks for coming. Robert, pleasure to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Usually I invite Jed, John, Parag, the run game coordinator, the everyone. Today it's just you two. This is a special coaches only meeting for the three most important coaches on the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, and me, the quality control specialist. And the reason I only wanted you two is because I'm going to say some harsh things today. I'm going to say some things that you two need to hear, but that Jed York and John Lynch don't need to hear. Because they don't need to hear this. This is just between you because it's going to sound harsh and you're not going to like it, especially you, Kyle. But the purpose of this is to help you grow as a head coach. I want to make you better. So hold on. Yes? Jed, it's a coaches only meeting. No, I said 11 o'clock coaches only. The meeting for how to gain the respect of the NFL in particular and the world in general, that's this afternoon. That's for you. This is coaches. Can you sit and listen? Are you a coach? Then no, goodbye. Where's with that guy? That's our boss. Unreal. Okay, so we got rid of Jed. It's just us two. He doesn't need to hear this, all right? You want him in? I can get him. You want him in? No. All right. Okay, so here's the deal with you, Kyle. What I'm going to say is harsh, but I want to start with praise because my dad always taught me that you start with praise. He was a graduate English teacher at USF, and I would sit in his workshops. He would start by what he liked. So what I got to say about you, Kyle, we're almost 4 years into your head coaching tenure, almost 4 years in. And the best thing you've done as a head coach here is hire Robert Saleh. That was a stroke of genius, and you deserve full credit for that. I don't think any other head coach in the league would have hired Saleh as a defensive coordinator in 2017. He was green. He'd been a position coach for just a few years. He was young. He wasn't your first choice. You wanted Vic Fangio, good choice. Then you wanted Gus Bradley. He's accomplished. I think you got someone even better. He's young. He's up and coming. He's driven. He's terrific. So you deserve full credit for hiring Robert Saleh. He's just wonderful. He's doing an A+ job this year. But here's what I don't want Jed to know and what is just between us. Kyle, Robert Saleh is a better coach than you are right now. No, I don't want to say that. He's a better coach than you are, period. That's what's happened. In 2017, he wasn't. He has surpassed you. And I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to explain why this is a problem. Robert Saleh has become every bit of the play caller that you are. You're an elite play designer, Kyle. You're top 3 in the league. You're right there with Andy Reid and Sean Payton. You're excellent at play design. But play design is only part of the job. And, Saleh's good at that too. Saleh is terrific with his game planning, with his scheme, with X's and O's. He's getting the most out of his defense. He actually gets more out of his players than you. I mean, his defense was better than your offense last year. His defense is better than your offense this year. But where Robert surpasses you, Kyle, is really in all the things that make a head coach a head coach. Robert is relentlessly positive, and it rubs off on his players. His players love to play for him. There is an exuberance and a joy on that defense that doesn't exist on your offense. Robert is the person in this organization who's focused on the message to the players, the big picture. He's the one with the mantras. You're the one that thinks every answer is in the playbook, is in the next gadget play. You are an excellent coordinator, but so is Saleh. Saleh is the head coach of this team. Now, you've abdicated the job, and Saleh has filled the void. If it weren't for Saleh, this team would have no leader, no head coach. You are a terrific match, the two of you. You really, really are. But here's the problem, Kyle. Saleh's so good, he's not going to be here forever. He could get hired by the Chargers in like a month and a half. And then when you go to replace him, You're not just replacing your defensive coordinator. You're not just looking for a guy who's good with X's and O's. You're replacing the head coach of the 49ers. You're replacing the guy who's the source of the optimism and positivity in the locker room. You're replacing that. It's not easy to find. You did it once with Robert Saleh. He was your third choice. You struck gold. Can you do it twice? It's not easy to find. I don't think you can. So here's the thing. You need to internalize a lot of the things that Robert Saleh is doing. So when he leaves, you can then become the head coach of this team because you're not that right now. And I'll explain it. Let me compare you to Sean McVay. You're a better play designer than Sean McVay. I think McVay would agree with that. McVay seems like he's a year behind you. He studies what you do and copies it, right? He has good taste. I would do the same thing. You're a hell of a play designer. But that's the job of a coordinator. McVay's a better head coach than you. He wins more than you do. He's never had a losing season. You're about to have your third losing season in 4 years. What's the difference between Sean McVay and you as a head coach? No, I'm asking you, Kyle. You tell me. You don't know? No, of course you don't know, because you don't understand this part of coaching or of really human dynamics. He's positive and upbeat. Sean McVay exudes nothing but positivity and optimism. And that rubs off especially on his quarterback. You know, no one thinks Jared Goff is good. You're dissatisfied with Jimmy Garoppolo. What do you think? How do you think Sean McVay feels about Jared Goff, paying him $35 million a year? He's stuck with him. But McVay understands that it does him no good. It does the team no good to undercut Goff in any way. In fact, it is McVay's job as head coach to boost Goff's ego, boost his confidence. Jared, you're good. Jared, we can win with you. And you know what? McVay does that. He projects more positivity than you do. You know what you project, Kyle? Anger. When you're on the sideline, you seem angry all the time. When a play doesn't work, you linger on it. You'll yell at a ref. You don't move on to the next play. Saleh doesn't do that. I've never seen Saleh angry during the game. I've seen him excited. I've seen him pumped up for his players. He doesn't linger on a bad play. He doesn't get up in a ref's face and argue. It's a waste of time. And the source of your anger, Kyle, it's clear what it is. You're held to a different standard. You're Mike Shanahan's kid. It's not good enough for you to be a good coach. You have to be a genius. You have to be better than Mike. You're trying to surpass the legacy of a 2-time Super Bowl champion. That's hard. You're trying to be a genius. That's hard. And you know what? In pursuing the ultimate bar of excellence, you've failed twice. You've lost 2 Super Bowls. That's the monkey on your back. You have 2 monkeys on your back. Remember Steve Young? He couldn't get to the Super Bowl his first couple years as the Niners starter when your dad was the offensive coordinator. And then finally in 1994, when they won the Super Bowl, he ran around the stadium, and what was that, Miami? Yelling, "Take the monkey off my back. Take the monkey off my back." That's because he hadn't won a Super Bowl yet. You've lost 2 Super Bowls. So you got 2 monkeys, and they're just slowly strangling you. And you have this look on your face of bitter frustration and disappointment. Had you won those Super Bowls, you'd be like McVay. You'd be like Saleh. You'd be Mr. Positivity strutting around the sideline. But instead, you got that cloud hanging over you, a frustration. And the way you take it out is on your quarterback. You are a quarterback killer, like John Gruden. You're holding yourself to this standard. I'm a genius, and I'm going to be a Hall of Famer like my dad. But you are a Super Bowl loser twice. So what do? You blame your quarterback. It's not my fault. It's the quarterback's fault. It's not my fault. Matt Ryan should have thrown the ball away. Shouldn't have taken those sacks. Jimmy Garoppolo should have hit the throws. They were open. That's what you do. You're a quarterback blamer, a quarterback killer. And what I've noticed about you is you've never been around a team long enough to actually stick with a quarterback for more than a few years. You were in Houston for a couple of years. You left. Who knows what the long-term effect of you on Matt Schaub would have been? You were there for 2 years. Then you went to Washington. You had Kirk Cousins for 2 years, left. He blossomed under Sean McVay. I wonder why. You went to Cleveland for a year. You were in Atlanta for 2 years. By the time you left, Matt Ryan was thoroughly pissed at you. How would that relationship have gone for for into the future. Then you come to the Niners. You've had Jimmy Garoppolo since 2017. Did he get better? No. Did you break him? Arguably. So here's the thing. Your style of coaching, when you're not yelling at the refs or being negative and frustrated and angry in a game, is to keep it real. That's what all the players say about you. You keep it real, which meaning you're ruthlessly honest and negative. If a player makes a mistake, you call him out. Any player, strong safety, long snapper, it doesn't get by you. So you have a team full of players, except for the ones who know that you like them, like Quan Alexander, who are afraid to make mistakes. They play like they're afraid to make mistakes. They play like they're afraid of what you're going to say at the Monday meeting, the Wednesday meeting, whatever. Especially your quarterbacks. Oh my God, especially your quarterbacks. And you know, Bay Area sports fans have seen this before with John Gruden. You remind me of John Gruden. John Gruden just wears out his quarterback's confidence every few years. I'm surprised that Derek Carr is playing as well as he has. And Gruden's going to mess that up eventually because it's what he does. He constantly nitpicks his quarterbacks. Hey, what about this read? This was wrong. This was wrong. How come you didn't set your feet here? How come you didn't make this one throw? Constantly negative stuff. And you know, that stuff might help you at first. It might light a fire under you at first, but in year 3 and year 4, it's tiring and it erodes a quarterback's confidence. That's what you're doing. You know, I'm sure Bill Belichick, a lot of coaches are looking at Jimmy and being like, you know what? All this guy needs is some time to get healthy and a coach who believes in him. A coach who says, you know what, Jimmy, you're good. Because what you do is you say, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not even as good as Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins would have made this throw. And you curse a lot. You say the F word a lot. Everything about your demeanor with players is harsh. They're afraid of you. Pete Carroll's not like that. John Gruden's like that. Robert Saleh's not like that. Robert Saleh doesn't yell at his players. He is relentlessly positive and he gives constructive criticism. I think that style works better with people who were born in 1995 and after. I'm born in 1988. I don't like relentless negativity. My parents didn't raise me that way. They would keep it real, but they would also tell me, you're great. We believe in you. You're going to do well. Those kind of things. People like to hear that. Do you say that to your players, to your quarterbacks? So here's the thing. You get rid of Jimmy this offseason. You bring in someone, the guy you want. Who's to say you're not going to kill his confidence in a few years either? Every throw he misses, every read that you don't agree with, you crush him for it to the point where he's on the field, not thinking, not reacting. His whole attitude will be, well, what does Kyle want me to do? Where does Kyle want me to go on this play? Because if I don't do that and I even make the throw, he's going to be mad at me. And I can take Kyle chewing me out once, twice, but every single time I'm done. I don't want it anymore. This is what you need to think about, Kyle. So you need to do one of two things. You either need to cleanse your mind and you need to do some like meditation. You need to go on like a retreat to India or something. You need to cleanse your mind and get past the 2 Super Bowl losses. Stop trying to be a genius. Stop trying to live up to your dad. You're putting too much pressure on yourself and it's making you miserable. You can see it in your face. You need to cleanse your mind and be positive. It's like Office Space. You know that the main character, he was really upset and then he went and he kind of got hypnotized. And all of a sudden he was the most relentlessly positive person of all time. Oh, you're firing me? Great. Oh, I'm a construction worker now? Even better. That's you, Kyle. You need to cleanse your mind, hypnotize yourself, and unlock your inner Robert Saleh. If you can be positive like Saleh and McVay, you can be a Super Bowl champion because it's your attitude that's holding you back. But, you know, I don't know if you can do it. You're 40-something years old. This is who you are. You need to really, really look in the mirror and decide, can you make this change? Can you cleanse your mind and become more positive of a coach? Or if you can't, if this is just who you are, you should step down as the 49ers head coach and give the job to Robert Saleh because he's doing it already. He's been the head coach of this team since last year. He's carried it. Make it official. If you feel like you can't stop yelling at the refs during the game, go up in the booth. You were great in the booth in Atlanta. You were removed from the emotion of the game. You could focus on calling plays. If one didn't work out, you could go to the next one. You're behind plexiglass. Maybe that's your domain, the booth. 7 stories high, where the game looks like a silent film. Maybe that's where you need to be. Saleh is good on the sideline. He can make adjustments. He can talk to his players. He can keep his cool. He's great out there. I don't know. You got to decide. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying you need to show it. And if you can't, then step down and let Robert Saleh be the head coach. Because if you lose Robert Saleh, this whole operation could go to hell in a handbasket, as my mom would say, as my grandma would say. You're not just going to lose your defensive coordinator. You're going to lose the leader of the team. You're going to lose the sense of the source of optimism and positivity on this team. You can't replace that. You can't. You can't fill that void. You can't find a guy to fill that void. You might find a guy like the Rams. They got a Vic Fangio disciple, Brandon Staley. He's doing pretty good. McVay's the leader of that team. He doesn't have to be a leader. You need a defensive coordinator who can be a leader, who can balance out your negativity. So when you nitpick everything a guy does, Saleh can be in the background. Hey, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. You're great. Don't worry about it. But he can only do that right now for the defensive players. He can't go to Jimmy and be like, don't listen to Kyle. Don't listen to Kyle. You're still great. That's just Kyle being Kyle. You need someone to do that, man. Either you need to tone it down for the sake of your quarterbacks, or you need to make Robert Saleh the head coach so he can go up to your quarterbacks and be like, look, man. Just filter out all that stuff, compartmentalize his tone. I like you. I'm the head coach. I believe in you. That's what you need, man. One or the other. And this is why I didn't want Jed York to listen, because he would hear this and be like, okay, well, I'm firing Kyle Shanahan and promoting Robert Saleh because Grant Cohn said so, because he's doing everything I say at this point. I mean, he's coming to a seminar this afternoon on how to get the NFL to respect him and the world in general. There's no way. That's impossible. But I'm going to sit down and tell him things because he asked me to, and he's the boss, and he's worth billions of dollars. So I'm going to lay out a lesson plan of what he can do to get the NFL's respect. And, it's just, God love him. Poor Jed. So you see what I'm saying? This is supposed to be constructive criticism. I'm using McVay and Saleh as the examples for why you are falling short as a head coach. You're a top 3 play designer in the league. You're an experienced offensive coordinator. You're a novice head coach, and you are not necessarily improving. You're on the verge of your third losing season in 4 years. You're on the verge of getting another quarterback. Other coaches in your position may not have as much job security as you. I mean, thank goodness you signed that extension this offseason, Kyle. Can I just say, that was the second best thing you've done as a head coach. The first best thing you did was hire Saleh. Genius. But 2, getting that extension after losing the Super Bowl the way you did, given that you had already blown a Super Bowl in Atlanta, to get an extension to make you one of the highest paid coaches in the league, when Jim Harbaugh asked for the same thing after he lost a Super Bowl with the same franchise like 7 years before and got rebuffed, that was just amazing. As Eric Davis once said on my show, you are what you can negotiate. Boy, that applies to you, Kyle. Way to go. You're not a genius yet. Not a genius, but you are rich. Good for you. You talked your way into a fortune. Your great-great-grandchildren really have to thank you for all that you were able to negotiate despite having a losing record. I mean, it's amazing. It's just freaking amazing. So, you guys are free to go. That's all I had to say. Robert, I really had nothing to say to you. You're doing such a good job. It is a pleasure to have you in the organization. Please don't leave. Kyle needs you. We need you. If, say, the Chargers or the Bears approach you with an offer, let us know, and we'll see if we can get Jed to match it, or if we can just get you to be co-head coach or something like that. Maybe create a job called co-head coach, because you already are the co-head coach. It'd be nice to just get the recognition. So, Robert, keep doing what you're doing. Kyle, be more like him. Be more like Sean McVay. Put a smile, Kyle. Come on. Your name rhymes with smile. From now on, your name is Smile Shanahan. Okay? I'm not calling you Kyle again until I see those teeth, baby. Smile, Shanahan. Come on. Life's not that tough. I know it's hard to be compared to your dad, and have the pressure of being a genius. You're putting all that on yourself. Just smile, Kyle. Smile. You got it made. You're worth like $100 million. You get to coach football, man. Smile. It's not that bad. All right. We got Beast Rider in the house. You're lucky. Right at the right time. I just told Kyle Shanahan that Robert Saleh is a better coach than he is. And I think he took it well. How you doing?
Good, my man. How you been?
Hold on. Now I can hear you. What's up?
How you been, my man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good. You actually said that to Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah, he was just in here, and it was just the three of us, Robert Saleh, Kyle Shanahan, and me. There's no one else watching. And I said, Kyle, you're a really good play caller, good play designer, but it's just that Robert Saleh is the head coach of this team, and he's out coaching you. He's been out coaching you for 2 years, and if you don't pick it up, we're gonna have to demote you to offensive coordinator and make Robert Saleh the head coach, or else they're gonna lose him. And there's no way to replace Robert Saleh's leadership. You can replace his X's and O acumen, but he's leading the team. He's the one. With all the positivity, I think that matters. Your head coach sets the tone. Are you a positive coach or a negative coach? Gruden's negative.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Carroll's positive.
Yeah.
Kyle has the Gruden negativity. Saleh has the Carroll positivity. And all I was telling Shanahan is he needs to channel his inner Robert Saleh, and I think he will. So we'll see.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good, man.
I got some topics for you. I got some questions for you. And we'll see where we go with this.
All right, two bums in one pod. Let's go.
Yeah, 2 bums in a pod, courtesy of Eric Armstead. The NFL postponed this Steelers Ravens game.
Yeah.
It's a Thursday night game.
Right.
There's some COVID cases. They postponed it, which reminds me that the Niners were in the same freaking position, and they did not postpone it. What are your thoughts on that, Ryan?
It's a business. NFL is a business, man. And what happens when you lose J.K. Dobbins and you lose Mark Ingram and they're both out with COVID, they know that the ratings are not going to be as strong as they would if they were in the lineup or if one of them were in the lineup. So the best course of action was, all right, man, it's Thanksgiving Day. We know people are going to watch football. Let's just pump up the other teams because the Detroit Lions, teams like these that historically have played, the Dallas Cowboys, whoever's playing on Thanksgiving that normally plays on Thanksgiving, we'll get the ratings from them anyways. Let's push it back to a Sunday game because, again, if we play the Ravens and the Steelers and put them on the show without their top 2 running backs, it's a game that's going to be basically a mismatch and Ravens will just get manhandled because if you remember, the Ravens manhandled the Steelers in the run game despite losing that game.
Yes. Look, doesn't it kind of seem like the NFL's biased in playing favorites here? I mean, the Niners had a Thursday night game, and they weren't like, hey, well, why don't we push this back for ratings? They were like, sorry, good luck, guys, tough year. But it's like the Ravens or the Titans are like, oh, man, hold on. We can't let the Ravens or the Titans lose a game that they shouldn't have lost. They're important. I just think it's kind of
It's a business.
Not fair.
Bro,
it
it's
is
a business. We've seen it so many times, and it's like, what the heck? Okay.
So is that an East Coast thing? Like the NFL just doesn't really care about the West Coast teams as much?
Yeah,
they're not as big of a
that way for years.
They're not as big of a ratings draw. Is that what it is?
Grant, you know it is. Grant, you know it is.
It's got to be, right?
Come on. Yes.
Look, if I were Kyle Shanahan, I would be livid. Livid. It just is. Because to me, the Niners are 4-6, but one of those losses is on the NFL. That Thursday night game was unfair.
It was very unfair. They should never played that game.
I mean, I would imagine the Niners have called someone in the league and been like, "Are you kidding? Can we get an explanation here?"
I'm pretty sure Shanahan, after he talked to you, he's probably talking to the NFLPA. Hey, what's going on, dude? Like, how did that happen?
Please,
how did they get the pass and not us?
Yes, absolutely. That's just it's outrageous. And it's like the NFL, like it's so blatant. It's like, I don't care. Like, what, you guys stink. You don't matter. The Ravens and Steelers matter. The Packers matter. Let's just give the Packers the win. What do you? Even if we postpone it, you gonna win? You gonna win? No. I like the NFL is so rude. Like, we don't care about you.
Basically, basically what they're saying. Yes.
Yeah. It's like whether or not we postpone this, you're still gonna have your backup quarterback out there, and we don't really care. So
we don't.
You're out.
Yeah, we don't care. It's not our problem.
If you had Jimmy G, we love showing clips of Jimmy G's face during the game, but there's not the same demand to look at Nick Mullins' face. So, hey, just play the game.
Just play the game. Yeah.
Just play the game. All right, next question. I had Eric Davis on a couple of days ago. That guy's really smart.
Oh, yeah,
really
for sure.
good.
Yeah.
So he said that.
Where is he now, by the way? Sorry. Where is he?
Know.
Like, is he with NFL Network? He's not with NFL Network anymore.
I don't know. But he gave me an hour. So I guess he's chilling.
Oh, wow.
But what I wanted to say is he said the Niners should move Sherman to safety. And he said it with such conviction. He's like, look, I played with Merton Hanks. Okay. This guy could do what Merton Hanks did. Merton Hanks intercepted a whole lot of passes for the Niners.
I saw your tweets. I just read your tweets like right now before I came out. I was like 4.4. I've been reading it. No. I literally read it as I got the link. I was like, oh, timeline 4.4. That's good stat.
Now,
right? It's 4.4.
Yeah. Do you think Sherman could have that kind of effect at safety? He's older than Hanks was.
My opinion, I do not believe so. And the reason I say that, and like, what do I know? Eric Davis knows he's played at the highest levels. He knows more than me, but I never played an NFL down. But what I do see is I see in today's NFL, the game has changed so dramatically since Eric Davis was in it that no longer can you just have a Merton Hanks safety playing his splits closer to whatever wherever his respective zone is. Because you got to remember, he had Eric Davis and Deion Sanders as his boundary cornerbacks, and that allowed Merton Hanks to play his splits wherever he thought the ball was going before the pre-snap diagnosed was read. So he knows where the ball was going. So if you're playing, like, let's say a single high, or if you're playing a two deep even, you can cheat over to one side, even if you're on the weak side of that formation, because you know where the ball is headed to. Now, can Sherman be the guy? I mean, that's a question. I don't think he has the range. I think he gets burned too easily as a boundary cornerback. And if you put him as the deep range free safety as a single high, you have to cover more range, sometimes a deep third, sometimes you're playing deep halves. So I don't think he has the ability to beat a team like, let's say, the St. Louis Rams. You have Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp who can just run verticals down the field, putting Sherman to a decision, and he will just get beat over the top time and time again. But he is, yeah.
Let me try to. When I was against it too, but when Eric Davis said, "Look, I played with Merton Hanks. He could do what Merton Hanks did," I take that seriously. He freaking played with Merton Hanks. So all I'm saying is, like the Niners safeties the last few years have been Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tartt, who are great athletes. I mean, they're like prototype athletes for the safety position. They're big. Well, not big. Jaquiski Tartt is, but they're both very fast and fluid and top. I mean, picked high for a reason. Sure. But yet neither one is a playmaker. Neither one has been around the ball very much in their career. Agreed. So what you could say is, like, not necessarily, like, just having that athleticism doesn't guarantee that you're going to make the plays. And although Sherman doesn't have the athleticism, he reads offenses better than any DB in the league. And he's not going to get to everything, but he might react quicker. And I do think that he would pick off more passes than Tartt and Ward combined.
I agree with that. I'm not going to say I disagree with that. I 100% agree with that analysis. But to your point, I mean, how many interceptions does Ward and Tartt have over the course of their career? I think he can probably match that total in one season if he really had a good season.
And it's like quarterbacks are afraid to throw into his zone anyway. So put him in the middle of the field instead of on the side. Look, I'd like to at least give him a shot in training camp. I'd like to see it. I want to see it. I don't know if he can do it.
No, but what do you have to lose, Grant? I mean, you have nothing to lose because Jaquiski Tartt's not coming back. Even though he plays strong safety, he's not coming back anyways. And here's some food for thought. If you remember when Jimmy Ward was coming out of the 2014 NFL draft, he was used as a slot corner. Then Fangio used him as a boundary corner, and then he used him as a free safety. And then he was working with Eric Reed to play the strong safety. So he can be interchangeably if they need to go that route.
I think what they could do is move Sherman to free safety.
Yep.
Move Ward to strong safety.
Yep.
Because he actually covers tight ends quite well.
Oh, I love Ward. I know you're not a big fan. I like Ward.
He's good in coverage against
I like Ward.
So move him to strong safety. And, if you want him on third down, you can move him to nickel and bring in Tavarius Moore and put more on the tight end. There's things you can do there.
Bro, you have to use Tavarius Moore. What do you draft him? Well, he's a third-round pick, right?
Right.
So you draft a guy in the third round to let him ride the pine? No, you you accounted for this situation because you knew you're not going to resign Jaquaski Tartt at the end of the year. So you better bet your top dollar that he can come in as a starter, as a third-round pick, because he's been waiting for what, 2 years now, 3 years now.
Yes.
It's time for him to sign. It's his opportunity.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Can he? I guess it's an unanswerable question, but I think it is the question. Can he develop a young quarterback? You know, let me give the context. 2 years in Houston with Matt Schaub leaves. 4 years in Washington, but 2 with Cousins. Cousins never really plays under him. Plays under McVay, does well.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to Atlanta. No, goes to Cleveland 1 year, gone. Atlanta 2 years. I mean, Matt Ryan was already a Pro Bowler at that point.
Yeah.
Leaves. Comes to the Niners. 4 years with Jimmy Garoppolo. Doesn't really improve. Doesn't drafts one quarterback at C.J. Beathard. He's going to draft a guy, we think, this year in the first round. Is that, I mean, can he develop him? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think Kyle Shanahan can develop him. Again, I'm really hard on Shanahan, but the reason I give constructive criticism is because I believe he's a top offensive mind in the NFL. I mean, I think he's up there with Andy Reid, and
no doubt.
You can say what you want about Kyle Shanahan, but he does a tremendous job in hiding his players' weaknesses and playing to his players' strengths. And if you have a quarterback you can develop, like, that will only do wonders for Shanahan's offense to open up the playbook. Now, getting back to your point, Jimmy Garoppolo has not been that guy.
No.
And C.J. Beathard was not
Neither
that
one
guy.
Improved. Neither one improved in the last 4 years.
So can they bring in somebody to kind of take the reins and kind of take the 49ers to the next level? I believe Shanahan has the ability to do that.
Here's why I question. I'm not saying he can't. I know his dad could. His dad was great for John Elway and Steve Young. Great for him. With Kyle, he seems to be more, I was talking about this earlier, more on the John Gruden spectrum. He seems like his style of coaching, he calls it keeping it real. But his style of blunt honesty, which I would call negativity, wears on quarterbacks in particular, because they're the ones that have to take the brunt of his, honesty. And
right.
After 3 years of it, I think it really affects your confidence. Like, my head coach really doesn't think I'm good. And I hear it every week. And now I believe it, because I've just heard nothing but you're not that good. You're not that good. You should have made this throw. You should have set your feet. Should have made that read. Monday morning quarterbacking constantly. So the system will be good for the kid. The playmakers around him will be good for the young quarterback. But will Kyle Shanahan's voice in his head give him a nervous breakdown? That's my only question, because I think it did for Jimmy, man. I think Jimmy's happy to get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see on the sideline, bro. Like, when he comes off to the sideline, and Shanahan, even though he has his mask on, you can kind of see the body language that's going on between the two. You can tell there's tension there.
Oh,
you can totally tell there's tension.
Yep.
Absolutely. He talks to him. Jimmy Garoppolo will talk to him, and then Jimmy Garoppolo turns around and then kind of puts his head down and walks away. Usually, what a player would do would be like, okay, I got it. And then go back and then stand next to the coach, or do something, right?
Dude, like, if Bill Belichick or Josh McDaniels walked over to Jimmy like that and gave him coaching points during a game, Jimmy would be like this. It'd be like your 6-year-old son looking at you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, yes, coach. Yes, coach. Yeah. For Kyle, it's like, all right, Kyle. Okay, Kyle. Yeah. Here we go again. Wasn't good enough. I'm telling you, man, it's his attitude. And you're working with he's going to get a 21-year-old kid, a 22-year-old kid who's used to praise. If it's Zach Wilson, who's ever told Zach Wilson he's not good? He plays at BYU. He's a god at BYU. He's the best thing that's happened to BYU since Ty Detmer and Steve Young. And he's going to come to the Niners. He's going to be the first-round pick, and he's going to think, man, these guys love me. They love me. And then after 2 months of being in quarterback meeting with Kyle, he's like, man, I suck. I had no idea. I sucked so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, Kyle, you better be careful, man. You look to me like a quarterback killer. That is a concept.
Quarterback killer?
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't know if fans understand. But there are certain coaches that are just quarterback killers. Who was like that? Mike Nolan?
Oh, my gosh.
John Gruden. I have no idea how Derek Carr has survived. Wow. Derek, way to go. Way to go. And Jim Harbaugh was not a quarterback killer. He was tough on the rest of his team, but he was relentlessly behind his quarterback at all times. Don't you think?
Oh yeah, always ride the hot hand. Even when we watch practice together, you can just tell he was actually the one throwing the balls with the quarterbacks. He was having that personal interaction that I have never seen in 49ers practice in the 7 years that I've covered the team. And what I've saw from Jim Harbaugh, from the quarterback specifically, I have never seen anywhere else. Anywhere else.
The way that he pumped up Colin in particular. I mean, Colin thought he was the best athlete in the world, and Jim made him think that. And that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want your guys to feel like they're the best. And what
Mhm.
Kyle does is makes them think that they're not even as good as Kirk Cousins.
That's the difference. I think Kyle is very hard on his quarterbacks because he sees the potential in them and he gives them
That's his style.
constructive criticism. But then some players do not respond well to constructive criticism.
Especially if it's all you get, if there's no praise mixed in.
Right. So it just depends on Kyle Shanahan and if he can change up his coaching style to your point, kind of take back a little bit and say, okay, well, this guy's a rookie. Let's focus on the positives like I do with my other positions and not so much on the negatives, and then focus on that.
Because if you remember the way that Jim Harbaugh had such success early on was to come to this team and say, you know what, we're not moving off this quarterback. I want Alex and he's good. Every time a reporter would be like, doesn't Alex Smith kind of suck? Isn't Alex Smith kind of a problem? Jimmy Harbaugh would be like, no, he's our quarterback. He's good. And and that's when Alex Smith became a winning player.
And I love that.
A winning player.
Yeah. We would sit so many times in the press conferences and just listen to Jim Harbaugh just praise his quarterbacks, whoever was behind center, game after game after game after game after game, Monday after Tuesday after Wednesday, every day.
Why was he doing it, Ryan?
Man.
Because that's the most important player on your team. If he doesn't believe in himself, you are screwed. So he understood that. That was the one thing he got, and he won right away. And to me, McVay gets the same thing. McVay inherited Jared Goff, who looked like a freaking bust at his rookie year. And he looked bad, and he could have went the Mitchell Trubisky route of losing all self-confidence. McVay comes in and says, no, you're good. You're freaking good, even though he may not even believe that. You know, you're good. We're going to win. And it works.
Right.
Kyle hasn't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
So anyway,
agreed.
Let's talk about Saleh. Just because I think it's interesting, and I think of myself as basically his agent. Let's count the teams that could possibly need a head coach, and if any of them would be interested in him. Are the Niners going to lose their defensive coordinator this offseason? Is what I'm saying. So let me list some teams if you don't think so, and we'll go one by one and just decide if it's a good fit. Starting with Jacksonville.
Yes, absolutely.
Jacksonville.
Good fit.
The problem with Jacksonville is that they are going to have the number 2 pick, I think, and they're going to draft a quarterback. So if you're an owner, a lot of times owners say, well, we're drafting a quarterback. I need an offensive coach to groom him. There's something to that. So that Jacksonville might be a hard sell. I mean, he's from there. They know him. But when you have that, I don't know. I think it would work, but part of me feels like they're going to go offensive guy. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
What about the Jets?
Gosh, man. Yes. I mean, Jets they can always use Saleh, but hey, I don't see Adam Gase coming back, bro. He's
right.
gone.
And a lot of times if a team fires an offensive coach, then they'll go try the defense.
Yeah. Right.
So the Jets are viable, but the Jets also may feel like they need to bring in someone who salvages Sam Darnold. You know, it's amazing how teams always convince themselves they need an offensive coach for some reason, but Darnold might be the reason.
Right.
Another team. How about the Houston?
Oh, yeah. I like that one. I like that as a fit. However, Romeo Crennel is the interim head coach right now, and he's doing a fantastic job, in my opinion. So he's a defensive mind. He's been a head coach in the past. It would be a good fit, but I don't know if that would be an ideal fit.
I don't know. I think that's another team that, like, I would expect them to go get Eric Bieniemy. I think they're going to try to bring in someone from that Kansas City, Bieniemy in particular, and see if they can get more out of Watson.
Yeah.
I think that's another team that's going to go offense, but They would be a good fit. I mean, Saleh is such a good option for any team, but let's keep going.
Dude,
The
keep
Falcons,
keep that receipt, bro. I think Eric Bieniemy to the Houston Texans is good.
I think that makes
You
sense.
better post that one. You better post. You take this clip, make another one.
Absolutely.
Call it.
Hell yeah. What about Atlanta? Do you replace Dan Quinn with Robert Saleh? I mean, they come from the same tree.
Same coaching tree. I don't think so. I
do
think
you go defensive coach? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they go that route.
They probably go offense, right? They got to get something out of that Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay. So not them. What about the Lions? Are they kind of the same? You got an aging quarterback, and they have a defensive coach right now. Are you going to fire Patricia to bring in Saleh?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, so maybe not Detroit. Okay, we're being systematic here. I like this. What about Minnesota? Do you think they would fire Zimmer? They're having a bad year.
They're underperforming, bro, and it feels like Zimmer just gets by every single year. Like he does enough just to get by, and it's one of those things where I think has 1 year. He's a 1 year guy, basically to prove himself. Next year, I think they're going to hold on to him for 1 more year and then move on from him. But
yeah, I'm with you on that. It would be a good spot because they have a veteran quarterback who doesn't need to be developed, and he's not going to win you games. Like he needs a defense and a run game. He needs that kind of structure, and Saleh could bring that. It's an interesting fit, and plus he's from the Midwest. He's from Michigan, but I don't know if they'll fire Zimmer yet. Okay, a few more. Philly.
Ooh.
They got an offensive coach who's failing.
I kind of like that.
Philly. The only thing I think Philly's a great fit for Robert Saleh. They could definitely use him, but I don't know if they're willing to fire
Doug Peterson.
They just extended him. He's expensive. They'd have to spend out a lot of money on multiple coaches to make that work.
And he won a Super Bowl for them. So like in Philly, that's everything. You're a god for the next 10 plus years.
Exactly. So I don't know if they're going to fire him either. That would be a really good spot for Saleh. Chicago.
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
Nagy underperforming offensive coach.
I don't like Nagy,
but they got to draft a quarterback too. And
I don't know.
Are they committed to Nagy? Will they get rid of him, or are they? It's a cheap organization. Chicago. I don't know. They're a cheapo organization. They might just stick with Nagy.
They probably will.
I can't freaking stand. All right, let me bring you to the last team, the Chargers.
I think they'll hold on to Anthony Lynn.
You think they will? They're 3-7. He did take him to the playoffs in 2018, but has had a losing season every other year. They could keep him.
I think because they have that new SoFi Stadium with no fans in the stands, I think they're going to give him 1 more year. And with the way Justin Herbert's been playing, he's on pace to be setting so many NFL rookie records right now, I believe.
Yes.
So he, as the head coach, is probably oh man, look what I did in Justin Herbert. Look what I built with them. And so I think that buys them another year. But yeah, I don't see them going away from Anthony Lynn right now.
The thing about the Chargers is they have like the 3rd rated offense right now. They have the 11th rated defense, and they're 3-7. To me, there is something wrong there. And Anthony Lynn he's not that good. He's just not. I don't think he's that good. I think Saleh would be. I think that's the perfect spot for him because Gus Bradley's there. They could keep him. Gus Bradley used to be they were together in Jacksonville.
Seahawks. And then he has the Seahawks tree.
That defense is ready to go for Robert Saleh. They already have a Bosa on it. Nick Bosa could call Joey Bosa and tell Joey Bosa to talk to Spanos and vouch for him. I think that he would. I think with the same team right now, Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, they would have a winning record with Robert Saleh as the head coach. I think he would just win that. I think it's perfect. Now they do have a young quarterback, but I don't know. Keep the same offensive coordinator if it's working.
Yeah, Yeah, I know. I just think right now it's a hard thing to do right now because again, like with the new SoFi Stadium, they're hyping that up on NFL Network, and then Anthony Lynn was in so many of those clips in that video, a 2-hour feature. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't see it happening, but it could anything happen. Watch it be wrong.
Yeah.
Watch me be wrong.
No, I don't see it happening either. It seems like the Niners' 4-6 record is going to overshadow the improvements that Saleh's going to make, and he may be here another year. Even though if you're just judging him on his own merits, he's improving. But maybe people will be like, well, the Niners aren't as good this year, so why do I want him? How do I sell a defensive coordinator from a 4-6 team as my head coach? Why will season ticket holders be excited about that? Maybe he's not as sexy as some other offensive coordinator right now, but he's just good.
Dude, Saleh is a top 5 defensive coordinator in the NFL, hands down. Hands down.
What he did against the Saints 2 weeks ago is still amazing. He shut them down.
Ridiculous.
How? I mean, he played them in the same stadium last year with Nick Bosa, Richard Sherman, and Dee Ford, and couldn't stop them at all. This year, with Emmanuel Sanders on that team, and no Bosa, Ford, or Sherman, just completely shut him down. That's
amazing. You're right.
That's amazing. If I was agent and I was talking to if I was agent and I was representing him to teams, I'd be like, that's where I would start. That's where I would start. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any bold predictions for this upcoming game against the Rams? That's all I got left.
Man, bold predictions. The Eric Armstead gets 2 sacks. I'm serious.
I don't know. Right?
I think I'm waiting for him to have a good game so then he can rant on Twitter and then go off again. Just one game. I'm waiting for that game, and then 2.5 sacks. 2 sacks. I mean, one of these games is gonna have one of those games. I mean, you have to. If you're a betting man, one of those 16 games, he's gonna have a good game. That's my bold prediction. I think he's gonna have 2 sacks.
I think what the Rams are gonna do is break out the bootlegs. They're going to bootleg it at Armstead every time, and you're going to see him being like, oh, no, there he goes. Oh, wait a second, let me come back. No.
Why did Shanahan call him one of the best run defenders on the team and in the NFL and called him elite and all these other things? Like, I'm sorry, but what game are you watching? What player are you watching?
Ooh, I don't know, man.
It's true.
I know, but they're just justifying. Yeah, keep going.
PFF, which we don't really pay attention to, but even they rank Eric Armstead 60th against the run.
Whew.
In my grading system, Eric Armstead ranks worst on the defensive line in terms of stopping the run. Javon Kinlaw's first, right? Kerry Hyder Jr. is third, and then DJ Jones is second. So Eric Armstead's last. So, what game are you watching?
Well, he's just justifying his own personnel decisions. They decided to keep Armstead over Buckner, so he's going to give reasons why, and he's going to embellish. He's the best run defending. No, he's not. Yeah. No, he's not. He's not.
What?
Yeah.
What did that come from?
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't know. We got bold prediction would be Armstead not tackling his own teammate. Yeah, he really put the hurting on Tavarius Moore last week.
That little with Alvin Kamara? Is that the one you're talking about? The Alvin Kamara?
I got some predictions for this game.
Okay,
I think the Niners are going to hold the Rams under 20 points.
Ooh.
That's one bold prediction. I think the Niners defense is going to come to play just like they did 2 weeks ago. They held the Rams to 16 points at Levi's, and now the Rams don't have their left tackle. I don't like this Rams offense that much. I don't really know what happened against the Bucks, but it seems like the Bucks defense is disintegrating.
No, it's not that. It's not as good as advertised.
It's not as good as average. I can't stop anyone anymore.
No.
And the Niners defense is pretty good right now. So I think the Niners are going to hold them to another 16, 17, 19 point performance.
Okay.
That's one.
Fair enough.
The other bold prediction is if Raheem Mostert or Jeff Wilson Jr. play, the Niners win.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I can ride with that. That is a good
plays, they win. If they don't, they lose. If it's Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon, they got no chance. But if Mostert can get 10 carries and average his customary 6 yards a carry, they win.
Dude, Mostert's a beast, bro.
Beast. I don't know. Now, Shanahan's going to talk in like 2 hours, and we'll find out what their status is for practice and stuff. But I think the reason they've been losing is because they don't have either of those guys. Jeff Wilson Jr. against the Patriots was legendary. That was so cool. And I've always believed he could do that. That's what the Niners wanted Carlos Hyde to be right there.
Carlos Hyde.
Remember him?
Seahawks. Yeah.
They drafted him to be a bruiser, and his signature move was the little bounce to the outside. And then when he would finally have a long run, what was his signature move after that?
Yes. Oh,
Take
do
me
you
out.
remember that?
Take me out. He
Do you
still
remember
does it,
that?
man. He'll have like a
Dude.
15-yard run on the Seahawks, and then he'll look to the take me out. He can't do 2 runs in a row.
Bro, you remember that? Damn, you're
Yes. And
taking
so
it back. Dude, I remember us talking about that. I
remember that
forgot
game?
about that. That's
Remember in
right.
2016 when the Niners lost to the Jets? Remember
Yes.
that? They were at home. They
Mhm.
lost to Bryce Petty and the Jets, and they were up big. And I think Carlos Hyde ran for like 250 yards in that game. And but I think he split carries with like DeJuan Harris. And after the game, people were like, well,
It
why
was
didn't you give
DeJuan Harris. I think it was
Yeah.
DeJuan Harris. Yeah,
And
yeah.
like people were like, well, why didn't they give the ball to Carlos Hyde more? It's like, well, if you go back and watch every run, he's like, oh, take me out, coach. It's like, well, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
No, stay on the field. You're not tired. I don't know.
He should have learned from Frank Gore and just had heart, bro.
Frank Gore, I've never seen him do that. Hey, take me out, coach. I'm tired.
Actually, I had a conversation. With Frank Gore about Carlos Hyde. Yeah. And he told me one of the things that he was trying to teach Carlos Hyde was what you just alluded to, patience between the tackles, because he would just bounce outside without letting holes develop in front of him. And that's one of the things that Frank Gore was trying to teach the young guy coming into the league. Like, hey, you got to be patient.
Yes.
And
you sprint to the line, it's not there. Now you bounce outside as if you had just kind of waited, it would have developed and you could actually hit it between the tackles, which is what they drafted you to do, Carlos. He was always a 200-pound running back in a 230-pound man's body. He so wanted to be a scat back.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, you're right.
Anyway, is there anything else on your mind? I don't have too much today.
I mean, that's
pretty. I haven't played in 2 weeks.
Oh, I want to talk about a little bit about the PEDs with Cohn Williams, though.
Ooh, yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, so he was suspended, right, for 2 games for violating the league substance abuse policy, right?
Yes, he was.
So a lot of people think of PEDs as just specific anabolic steroids or HGH, with the whole Barry Bonds thing and everything like that. But there's actually layers to it, to what PEDs actually constitute. So a lot of the drugs or a lot of the banned substances you can get over the counter. You can go to bodybuilding.com. You can go to your local GNC store. You can go to your local vitamin shop, which are all actually banned companies or banned places to go get your supplements. It's actually by the NFLPA has a list of banned companies and they're on the bad substance list. Well, that's where I get my supplements. So this stuff is not anabolic steroids or anything like that. They're just stuff that the NFLPA views as bad for the sport.
Well, we don't know what K1 tested positive for, but what you're saying is it's possible he wasn't necessarily taking anabolic steroids.
No. And if it was, then I think he would be like, okay, well, I got caught. But, there's the things called masking agents, which is water pills you can get over the counter. There's weight loss supplements that have a lot of stuff in it. And again, the NFLPA every year sends their players a list of banned substances. And when you go to like a local vitamin shop store or GNC store and you walk in and you're looking at the label on it, well, it's not regulated by the FDA, which means that no matter what it says on the label, you really don't know what you're putting in your body because it's not regulated. So K1 Williams' case, I don't know specifically. I'm out there behind closed doors, but what I can tell you is some of these players get tested positive without knowing what's in their bodies, what they're putting in their bodies. And ultimately, they're responsible for it. But unfortunately, you're playing Russian roulette. So the best advice I would give to NFL players is don't take anything. Just get it naturally from food and work out hard.
Right. Didn't the same thing happen to Kyle Nelson?
Yeah. Well, I have a story about that. Me and Kyle Nelson in the locker room would talk about like the stuff that he was like, hey, Ryan, what are you taking, man? And I would tell him, I was like, hey, this is what I'm taking, bro. But I was like, I don't think you should be taking this. He's like, oh, well, what is it? I was like, oh, well, I'm sponsored by Eva and I take these supplements. And then we would actually talk and have conversations about it. And then
you ruined his career, Ryan.
I didn't ruin his career. I was just telling him, hey,
his career. Kyle, I apologize on behalf of Ryan. He shouldn't have given you that advice.
The protein powder was bad. No.
If you're trying to look like Ryan, that's the first mistake. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't be like Mike McGlinchey, Kyle Nelson. I know you're envious, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so you got to be careful. Like we were just discussing, in this case, it was protein powders, but, I don't know what Kyle took, but obviously he got suspended for PEDs. And then I remember having a conversation with Colin Kaepernick, actually, when he was with Muscle Farm. He was sponsored by Muscle Farm. And at the time, I was taking Muscle Farm. So he would actually swing me Muscle Farm supplements. Yeah, in the locker room. Hey, Ryan, try this. Let me know how you like it. And I was like, oh, I like this stuff. It's pretty good. Yeah, so it's like it's a common thing. Every NFL player takes supplements. I don't care what anyone says. They all take supplements. I see it in the locker room. I see it in the lockers. They all take supplements. They all do it. They all do it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you're not supposed to look in their lockers and see what they got. Like they'll be like,
it's all out in the open. But it's all out in the open.
You kind of have to like buffalo eye it a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, we can answer a couple of them. I got to bounce at noon though.
Yeah, me too. I got to get my workout with Kyle Nelson.
Me too. Yeah. We got people yelling at each other in the comment section. Are you guys coming here to yell at each other? I don't know.
Are they seriously yelling?
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Are they mad at us?
No, they're mad at each other. They can't. I got to put everyone on timeout. There's actually a timeout button where I can put individual people on 5-minute timeouts. So I'm going to do that.
Okay.
All right. Well, what's both of your guys' favorite Niners memory? What's your favorite Niners memory from covering the team?
Niners memory, like as a fan or as like someone in the NFL media?
How about as a beat writer?
Okay, I got a story. Funny. What is it? The most memorable or funny?
Your favorite.
All right, I got a story about Colin Kaepernick, but it's not favorite. It's just funny. I think I told you the story. So we're in the 49ers locker room, and Colin Kaepernick sitting down, and actually I was sitting down. Colin Kaepernick sitting.
I was there with you. We were all watching a cornhole game, right?
Yes.
This was back when the Niners were losing like 11 games in a row. Yes. Okay. This was 13-game losing streak.
So I asked Colin Kaepernick, but oh man, are you good at this game? Just like I asked you, hey Grant, are you good at beer pong? You know, like this is a common question that you ask normally at a social function. And then he looks at me and says, that's disrespectful. And I look at him and go, well, you're not winning on the field. I just want to see if you're winning off the field. Like, don't call me out, bro.
Here, I have another story about Colin. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I forget what year it was. It might have been 2013. This was the year that I think it was 2013. This was when Michael Crabtree tore his Achilles in minicamp. Oh. And they were having an open competition to be the starting wide receiver opposite Bolden. And I think it was Marlon Moore who won that competition. Was it Marlon Moore?
Yeah, he came from Miami Dolphins, right?
Yeah, it was Marlon Moore. Okay, so this guy was like a starter on the team for a second. And a wide receiver. So, you know, in the old locker room, there was, well, there still isn't, but they're in the old locker room, and there's a tiny little hoop with a tiny little ball, and they shoot on it.
A dunking one.
Yes. And so it's like after practice, Marlon Moore shooting, Colin's shooting, and Colin's like hit a couple shots. And Marlon's like, you're pretty good, man. Did you play basketball in high school? And Colin stops and looks at him sideways and goes, you didn't know that? You didn't know that? And Marlon Moore goes, dude, I'm sorry I didn't read your Wikipedia page. It was so funny, dude. I still feel that Colin Kaepernick is the most narcissistic person I've ever met. And he really said to Marlon Moore, you didn't know that? Like everyone knows my story. Like, you didn't watch the E! True Hollywood Story about my life? You missed episode 7 about high school? Like, wow, you don't know about my high school story, bro? How do you expect me to throw the ball if you don't know what I was doing at Turlock High? Like, wow, Colin, how do you talk to people like that? You're 24. You're 25. You don't know that? So I like to channel Colin sometimes if people don't know that. You didn't know that about me? Oh, I'm kind of a big deal. He's like the Ron Burgundy of quarterbacks. I'm
Mahogany?
kind of a big deal.
Mahogany?
Marlon Moore was so surprised. He was trying to be nice. He was like, "Oh,
I know.
Did you ever play?" Like,
dude.
Well, I guess I'm cut. I guess I said the wrong thing, man. Sorry.
But that's how he is, and that's why when Jay Glazer put that report that he was on an island, of course he was. I mean, we would go in the cafeteria and he'd be sitting by himself. He wouldn't be seen with the freaking offensive players. It'd be like one defensive back practice squad player.
Is it too late?
It's true.
Is it too late to say who the source of all those? I think I can say it, right? Can we say it? It's been 5 years. Maybe not. All right, never mind.
Yeah, hold it off. Hold it off.
Yeah, all right. Okay. We gotta go. It's noon. Go get that pump on, and we'll be back every Wednesday at 11:30ish.
Sounds good, my man. Thank you for having me on Two Bums in a Pod.
Peace. Two Bums in a Pod. See you next time.